Welcome back, everybody. Brand new week here on the Cabral Concept. So happy you could join me. As always, I appreciate our community so much. All of your likes, your downloads, your subscribes, your shares. That's really what it's all about, is getting this information to as many people as we can. So my goal on these Monday shows is that I believe most of us have the knowledge, or at least can find what we need to know and understand in order to be able to achieve our goals. But that's not the whole story. Part of the story is what's going to motivate us to be able to push through even when times get difficult, or what is our why? Why are we doing this in the first place? And that's a little bit about what I want to talk about here today. Because in the end, after you start to move through your 20s and definitely your 30s, you're going to start to look at life maybe a little bit differently. You've gone through a lot of life's lessons, not all of them, but you've gone through a lot. And you're going to start to see in the end what you want to create for yourself. And it's not too late. Whether you're in your 70s or 80s, it's literally not too late. Not what we know now. Now that we know that we can honestly and regularly get to 100 healthily, the goal is to start to live the ideal life now. But what does that mean? Too often we're told, live every day like if it was your last, right? And I just don't know about that line, live every day like it was your last. Because it's my opinion that if you truly believed today was your last day, you would do things that may be very detrimental to your future. I mean, think about it. You would take risks, you would take chances, you would do things that, maybe like quit your job or any of these things, and they would not set you up for success if you had a tomorrow. And I hope and I believe that most of us here listening to the show do have a tomorrow. We have a brighter tomorrow than maybe even today. I like to look at the future as being brighter than it is even right now, because collectively, I am who I am because of the actions that I've taken over the past X number of years. And I was able to take those actions based on the information I had at the time. But the more information I have, the more lessons that I learn, hopefully, the better outcomes, because I can take better actions. I have better information. So I'm able to then find out better education or tips that I can use in my own life in order to get closer to whatever I feel is a better outcome or goal in my life. And I want the same exact thing for you. That's why I always tell people the goal is ultimately to get those 5 areas of your life where you want them to be. It's your health. It's your body, right? Because your health, you really need that. If you don't have energy, it's difficult to accomplish a lot of things that you want in life. And being sick and worn down and run down, all of that takes the life force from you. So we want that, and we want the body, obviously, to be able to carry us. This is the vessel that moves us through life. And so you just don't want that vessel to have to suffer, to be in pain. And so you want to be able to get to your ideal weight for you, not to have the joint pain, all of those other things, different things. That's why on my other shows, I talk about you should exercise. Just don't over-exercise. You should eat well, but just don't deprive yourself too much or go overboard the other side. So it's not about everything in moderation. I don't believe that at all. Now, I believe everything in balance. So you need to balance the body. So there'll be times when you need to do a little bit less or do a little bit more to get you back into balance. So then there's also your family. Some people will decide to have children, some people won't. That's a personal decision, whatever works well for you. But it's basically taking care of your family-based life and whatever that does mean for you. I think a lot of people do better with a partner, with a spouse in life, but not everyone. And that's obviously been proven as well. Then you've got your career or your finances, whatever you need to do in order to be able to accomplish the things that you want in this world. And a lot of people want to live their purpose. A lot of people are getting much more into careers that they believe have a mission, a purpose, and that also that they enjoy themselves as well. And the last one is spirituality. So it's are you a spiritual person? I think most people do better believing in some type of higher power. Call it God, call it the universe, call it the creator, whatever you're looking to do. It's like, how do you feel connected with this world? So instead of now saying, live every day like it's your last, I ask you, what if we were to live every day as if it was a whole lifetime? And I've really started to contemplate that line a little bit more. Like, what exactly does that mean? And I wish I could tell you truly who said it first, but I'm sure it goes back to the ancient Vedic-based sayings. But think about this. Live every day as if it was a whole lifetime. Now, I don't have all the answers, and I simply don't profess to either. But what I'd like to say to you is I like to think of these things. I like to meditate on them. I like to contemplate them. And oftentimes it's just on a walk, or it's in the shower. It's while getting ready. I have an hour to myself in the morning. I wake up an hour before the rest of the family. And what it allows me to do is have some of that thinking time, that quiet time before I do move into my work day. And of course, help with my daughters, all these different things. So as I'm thinking about that, I'm saying to myself, live every day as if it was a whole lifetime. When I say, well, I can't accomplish everything in a day, right? That doesn't make any sense. And I can't meet all the different people that I want in one day, right? Because some of my family, they don't even live in the same state as me, and I can't see all my friends and colleagues, and I can't do all the different things in one day. But what would it mean if I were to distill down what are the most important things to me in life? Now that starts to make a little bit more sense. So for me, I've said it before, but I like to reinforce it because everybody, they need to know their handful of things that really make the difference in life. So I have a lot of interests in life. I mean, I really do, but not all of them rise to the top. So what rises to the top? Okay, so first and foremost, my wife, my 2 daughters, right? So we have that. Okay, then for me, it's my parents, my siblings, and my extended family, like their families as well. That means a lot to me. And then after that, I kind of teeter back and forth is like, well, what matters the most after that? And for me, it's like, well, what do I love to do? Like, what do I love to do every day and that I would never want to retire from? And so for me, it's teaching. So a lot of people might say, no, it's running your health companies or whatever. It's not actually that, it's teaching. That's always what I loved. Because if it was all about the business aspect, I would have opened up more wellness centers. Like that's what I would have done. They were very successful. I had 2 locations. We were doing 20,000 plus appointments a year. We'd seen well over 250,000 people. I could have just franchise or open up more. That's not what it was about. So I knew even back then that the meaning for me came from the teaching. And that's why I started this free podcast. I started it because I felt like, well, I knew what we were doing was working, and I felt that other people may benefit from it. And if I could open source it for free, well, that to me would have meaning. Now, the goal is always to try to provide some service to the world. I truly believe that. I believe in being a good steward for this world. It means leaving the world a better place than you found it. And I don't necessarily know exactly how to do that, but I know by at least teaching, and I believe all of us have that inside of them, that if you teach what you know, and we all know something a little bit more than maybe others, like just general population, if you teach that, if you share that, what if that enabled a bettering of the lives of another individual? Well, when you think about that, that makes you feel good too. So it's this strange law of reciprocity where you're giving, and the more that you give, you're also getting. You're getting because you feel good in that act. So, okay, so I look at my ideal day. It has to include my family. It has to somehow include my extended family or my parents, my siblings. It has to include my work that I'm so passionate about, which is mainly teaching, right? That's what it would have to include. And then there's other things. Like I like to be able to do things for me in terms of the movement, the exercise, being in nature. So maybe just out there going for a walk, and the exercise kind of calms the stress in my body. I like to be able to sit down to a dinner with family and friends. Like that matters to me as well. Then I enjoy some enjoyment in my day too. And it could be my daughters and my wife and I play a lot of like cards or board games or things like that. So we'd have to include that. And so what you're starting to do is you're just writing down like, what are the things that are really at the high of your list for priorities that you really want to get done. Now, there's obviously your tiers below that, meaning like, I love being able to hang out with my friends. I love being able to travel. I love being able to speak, all around the world. But the thing is, like, that's not something that I would do every day. So what I try to do then is design the ideal day, the perfect day. And I actually did, there's a book by a colleague of mine, Craig Ballantyne, and I think he did a really great job of designing like his perfect day. And so what I'm trying to say is, there's not always just one perspective. And that's why we need you to understand you just a little bit greater, to be a little bit more self-aware about what's important to you. And then what you can do is actually design that ideal day. And so for me, I understand that just like most people, you have normal working hours. During those normal working hours, maybe you can get, especially if you work virtual, 30 minutes to do a walk. I do walk and talks. I talk about that all the time. I get outside and I walk, and I'm doing my calls from walking. And if your company's okay with that, then great. That's another way to get outside. Now you combine some more of the things that you love. And so for me, what I'm able to do is, sure, I have my normal working hours, but I have some time before that. I have time with my daughters in the morning. I have my work day in and of itself, and I get to teach during a lot of that. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I love. And that's why I recommend for so many people, you spend so much time at work, try to find something that you enjoy, that you're passionate about. And even if you can't get to that right now, we'll start to get a certification in it, start to get a little bit more education, maybe moonlight a little bit after work, and then start to transition into that job if possible. And then at night, okay, that can be your time too. Don't waste it just on social media, scrolling on your phone. Try to do the things that are important to you. So maybe it's simply setting up a call with your mom or your dad or siblings and chatting with them to stay in touch, to make that part of your perfect day. And maybe you don't talk with the same person every day, but you know, oh, every night at 5 o'clock, while I'm maybe making dinner, I'm going to connect with this person, and they know I'm going to call on that day, and we're going to catch up, we're going to chat, we're going to discuss. Wouldn't that be really nice, right? If we didn't just always converse through text message. Nothing wrong with that. And to be honest, I'm guilty of that as well. I text message far more than I call. I very randomly call. I'll say that because my schedule is so packed. I'm much more apt to just send text messages than I am a call, but it's so much nicer to be able to connect, of course, in person first, and then at least by voice, even better, video and voice. Then after that, just voice, and then of course, text message. So I don't think that there's one right answer to this, but I'd love to be able to meditate and contemplate on what is the ideal day? How can we live every day as a lifetime? Because not every day is going to be perfect, but the more of those perfect days, or 80% perfect days that you can string together, the more that you're going to enjoy life. So I do believe that towards the end of our life, as everything has been said and done, we're going to ask ourselves, did I leave this world a better place than I found it? Did I enjoy my life? And was I able to have no regrets? And if you can answer those three questions in a positive frame of mind, you're going to feel good about you, what this life meant to you. And I do believe that following this formula of trying to live each day as your whole life and prioritizing what is your ideal day is going to get you far closer to being able to answer yes to all of those questions. Thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning into today's Mindset and Motivation Monday. As always, if the show is helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it can serve. And tune back in tomorrow to the Cabral concept, because we will be going over how mold, Lyme, and viruses are all connected and how they weaken our body over time. Stay tuned, everybody. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.